Hi, Global Championship Wrestling fans, and welcome to Behind the Curtain. I'm Robert Cosper, and our special guest this week is the Global Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, Francisco Ciatso. So stay tuned as we sit down with the champ. Back to Behind the Curtain. I'm your host, Robert Cosper, and our guest this week, as you can see, is the Global Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, Francisco Ciatso. Thanks for sitting down with us today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I'm glad you take time out, man. I know you're busy. You got a big title match coming up. What we kind of want to do here on the show is just do like a behind the scenes, a little bit into your background,
okay,
and your athletic endeavors and whatever led you into being a professional wrestler.
Okay.
What kind of athletic background are you coming from?
Well, when I was a kid, I was in martial arts at a very young age, probably from when I was about the age of 8 until I was about maybe 17. Of course, just like every high school kid, decided to play some football, and did just that. So between martial arts and football, and I was on the wrestling team when I was in high school, weightlifting team, the whole 9 yards. So I had my share of athletics, but my first love, of course, was always always wanted to be a pro wrestler when I was 8 years old.
So you kind of were already like a triple threat by the time you were legal.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so.
Right.
Of course, you learn quite early on that you don't really know as much as you think you do. Right. But I've learned enough over the years. So.
Right. I find out the hard way a time or two myself, and I'm not as tough as I thought.
Yeah.
Well, just not talking about pro wrestling that influenced you when you were younger. I mean, what was that moment where you said, This is what I want to do?
Well, it's kind of funny because we were actually talking about it on the way up here. Myself and Corey Chavis and Mike Cruz, we were driving up from Orlando. Mm-hmm. We were talking about the Eddie Graham Sports Stadium in Orlando, Florida, which of course is no longer there. Mm-hmm. But I remember seeing one of my first matches when I was really young. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I remember thinking this place is enormous, walking in. And I think the headliner was Wahoo McDaniel and Lex Luger for the Southern title.
Wow.
Kendo Nagasaki, Great Muda as the ninja. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy Jack Funk was on the card. Barry Kendall Windham. I mean, it was incredible because I was watching, championship wrestling from Florida on a little black and white TV that my mom had. We didn't have a whole lot of money, so I didn't have cable or anything. So when I would come in snowy on like UHF or VH, whatever the thing was, and I would be able to see it through the snow and Gordon Soley's voice and so on. And I started out watching that. So to be able to go and see that at an early age, I remember maybe 8 or 9 years old, I remembered seeing, those type of matches and thinking that's what I want to do. And not a whole lot of kids, not a whole lot of people really know 8 or 9 years old what they want to do with their life.
Right.
Of course, my family wanted me to do other things, wanted me to be an attorney and so on, and I had my choice to either get my law school paid for or go to be a professional wrestler. And of course, fast forward to 2014, and I'm sitting with you in spandex and shiny boots, and no, not an attorney.
So it's safe to say you opted for wrestling.
Yeah.
And talk about championship wrestling in Florida, man.
Yeah.
So many legends came through there.
Yeah,
I can see where you definitely, this is what I want to do if I saw that firsthand.
Absolutely.
And that kind of brings us to, you got your moniker, your nickname of the King of Florida. How did that come about?
Well, in all actuality, I won the King of the State tournament a few years back with some of the best names in the state. I mean, Tokyo Monster Kagas, Marquis Bruce Santee, Off the Wall Sam Shaw, who's now in TNA as Samuel Shaw. And it was a plethora of top guys in the state of Florida. And I won a 4-match tournament to be named the King of the State. And it just kind of took off from there. Although I won the tournament, the name was actually given to me by my peers and by the fans themselves. I was one of the busiest guys, and probably the busiest guy in the state of Florida. And pretty much right now, if I had to blow my own horn, and I will, probably the Southeast right now. And so the fans named me the King of Florida, and it just kind of took off from there. And my peers would kind of make a joke that because I'm the busiest guy in Florida, I might as well be the King of Florida, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
Here you are.
So I pretty much accepted that moniker, and it's to me, when you give it a name by the fans and by your peers, that's always one of the best feelings.
That's when
because it's real.
Yeah, you earned something from them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a place with them and their respect. So.
Yeah.
And you spent some time in Deep South, did you know?
Yeah, I spent about 2 years, maybe a little bit more, Deep South under Bill DeMott. And towards the end of Deep South's tenure with Tom Pritchard. Of course, Jody Hamilton was there as well. But my main coach was Bill DeMott, and he had a lot of hand in what I did and my success throughout Deep South. And I got a lot of my opportunities through there. And it was probably a turning point in my career of learning the most and being able to train by some of the best and have everybody from Bob Holly to Ron Simmons to Ricky Steamboat and the best of the best of the best to come through there and hold seminars and learn from some of the best, and of course build them on as well.
That's like a Harvard education of pro wrestling, actually.
Yeah.
Especially Ricky Steamboat, huge fan of Steamboat's ring work.
Sure, and Steven Regal. I mean, he was it was incredible being able to rub shoulders with those guys and legends, in my mind, and guys that I grew up watching and that I idolize and still watch to this day and study, and so to be able to get that opportunity, you can't buy that type of education. So
yeah, you're learning it firsthand. So that's quality.
Absolutely.
But in Deep South, that's where you actually first met up with Micah Taylor, the man you defeated for the GCW heavyweight title.
Yeah, Micah Taylor was in whether I like the guy or not. It's he's one of those guys that should have been a huge star, in my opinion. He was in a tag team at the time. I can't remember the exact name of the tag team, but his partner was Tony Santorelli. I think it might have been like Team Extreme or something along those lines. Their gimmick was awesome. I mean, I loved it. He was like the surfer guy, and Tony was BMX or motocross type thing. And, it was really cool concept. And Micah was a workhorse. He was always the first one there and the last one to leave. Never blew up. Tough as nails. He's a Marine. You're never an ex-Marine, of course. You're a former Marine.
Right.
So he's tough as nails, and always probably one of the strongest guys I've ever seen in the gym. And when I first got to Deep South, he was one of the first guys to kind of give me some feedback, and because when you're showing up as a new guy and non-contracted talent, it's a rough road. Because they all have jobs, they're trying to keep their jobs, and you're trying to get one.
Right.
And but Micah Taylor was one of those guys who would work with me and so on. As I would see him at the gym, he was always real cordial. But we always had that professional, heat between the two of us. Because I wanted what he had, and that was a job with with the WWE and developmental contract and so on. But Micah Taylor was definitely one of those guys that should have been a star.
Mike should have been. He's an outstanding talent. But can I get you to tell me a little bit more about your history of you and Mike? Because I know when you defeated him for that title, that's not the first time you guys have been in the ring together.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we locked horns quite a bit at Deep South.
Right.
I was really early on, in my career there at Deep South and trying to get a job there and so on. With him taking me under his wing and helping me and so on. Of course, in my opinion, there was always a level of jealousy, when Micah was concerned. I mean, I was younger than he was. I was trying to get his job, So as much as he might have been helping me, of course, being able to come and win, the GCW heavyweight title from Micah Taylor is kind of like, I told you it was going to happen, Micah, and I don't think he would have believed it in a million years, that I would have beat him fair and square right in the middle of the ring. Here in Pell City, Alabama. But back in the Deep South days, I'd show up to a bar and we'd have a little shot contest, or he was always trying to one-up me and so on in front of the boys. And that's fine, and I get it and I got it. It was a fraternity and so on. But there was always that little something there that I could never put my finger on. And once I came here, I saw it full well exactly what I was dealing with Micah Taylor.
Yeah, just that competitive edge.
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I mean, I know you've got a big brass knuckles on a pole rematch coming up with Micah Taylor.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts going into that?
Well, it was kind of funny because I got an email from GCW office letting me know that this match was going to be sanctioned and signed, and GCW and so on and so forth. And my big question was why? What would be the reasoning to have a match like this? And they said they reviewed tapes and so on and saw what I did and so on and so forth. Referee saw nothing. Nobody in the building saw anything. They thought they saw something. At the end of the day, I'm a professional. I do what it takes to win. I pull out all the stops. I've done it since I was a little kid back in the old neighborhood. I grew up poor as a little kid. I had nothing. So at the end of the day, I had to fight for everything I had. Unlike a guy like Micah Taylor, who was handed quite a bit, in his career. At the end of the day, I'm walking out of here with the GCW heavyweight title the same way I did over a month ago when I beat Micah Taylor right in the middle of that ring.
Yeah, and the bottom line is if the referee didn't see anything, his final decision, it stands. And you're sitting right here with the Global Championship Wrestling heavyweight title.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to wish you the best of luck tonight in that title defense. And,
Appreciate that.
And thank you very much for taking the time out to sit down with us here also.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Folks, thank you for joining us for Global Championship Wrestling's Behind the Curtain. I'm your host, Robert Cosper. Special thanks to our special guest, the Global Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, Francisco Ciatso. And folks, tune in with us next week when our special guest is Micah Taylor, right here on Behind the Curtain.